A bad one.
Touch my blade.
If men don't want to fight, cool. Now you have new masters. Which would you prefer? New or?
Yeah, right. So so you're exactly right, Touch My Blade. So my kind of thought process here is that if other nations knew that there would be no way to compel the citizenry to go and fight, especially in modernity, those would be the nations I'd want to invade. Especially if the entailment of it was like, we will never force you under any circumstances, even if your women are getting butchered in the streets. That's the no-no. It's just kind of, to me, it just seems like it's so absurd, you know? It just seems absurd.
That makes sense. That's a good point. And
Yeah.
I guess that's not a topic I've, like, to the extreme that I've really researched and thought about enough. So
Yeah, I mean, but these are realistic scenarios, right?
Yeah, no,
Like,
they are. They are. Things to think about, definitely.
Especially historically when it came to
Yep.
warfare, where, I mean, now there's like rules of war and stuff, which even today are still broken. You see this going on in...
There's no rules to war. I mean, Israel just blew up everybody's pager, right? There's no rules anymore.
But also with the birth rate as well. Israel's a really good example of that because they were getting outbred by the Palestinians.
Yep.
And then I think it was
Vitro.
Yasser Arafat, who was a Palestinian leader, said his greatest weapon is the woman's womb, because they were just breeding. And then Israel knew that they were going to become a minority. So then they had a mass propaganda campaign to get their birth rate up, and they did.
They did. They gave free in vitro fertilization. They would do it up to 10 times, but the problem is that it can't be sustained because the age that women are having children is in their 30s now, and since that's the case, it's not going to be sustainable.
And I mean, as recently as World War II, I think on the German side and the Russian side, you know, as the Germans entered into Russia, and then as Russia entered back into Germany, wasn't there significant amounts of...
Well, Stalin stopped all abortion inside of the Soviet Union because he knew he needed the numbers. So they stopped all abortion. And because they knew they needed the numbers of soldiers that were going to be required to defend the motherland. So they stopped it all.
But I'm just saying
And by the way, they were the ones ultimately who won World War II. So
yeah.
But yeah.
I was more so saying just like the women were being victimized as Germany went into Russia, and as Russia then in turn went back into Germany. So
Russia had
they called it the R word of Berlin for a reason. Like they literally went through and the whole country they just
Nanking as well.
Nanking as well.
Vietnam. We have law paladins here. It's not an odd standard. It's a very consistent standard. Anti-human ideology. Babies are bad. Men dying in war is good. Blank good. Abortion's good. Career good. Family's bad. Ask her about breeders.
Well,
I didn't even say that.
I agree that
babies are bad.
I agree you didn't say that. I 100% agree with that, and I would not put words in your mouth. I just look for the entailments of the position. Like, where does this lead? Where does this idea eventually go?
Touch My Blade donated $200.
Thank you, Blade.
Seems a somewhat privileged opinion. To not worry about if men will protect you. In a nation that they already do historically and currently.
Right, well, and it would be really funny. I think intersectionalists could do something really good about this, right? They could kind of take the wind out of the sails of men by saying, okay, we're just not going to count men as a monolith. But then they couldn't count women as a monolith. And if they can't count women as a monolith, it can't be a whole oppressed class because they outnumber men at 51% to 49. Men go, wait a second, that makes no sense. You outnumber us. And they go, well, yeah, but we're still an oppressed minority because of power dynamics. And so we have to count the entire thing. It's like, okay, well then you have to count men as a monolith too, which is just crazy to me.
We have Warlord 69. Where is it? Chair 4, why do you have such a lack of respect for men? Why are you so unappreciative of men?
My name's Lily, and I do respect and appreciate men. I think there are a lot of men that are great. That doesn't mean I don't think some of them are scary.
30%. You said 30%.
Hey, I don't. You forced me to pick a number. I don't have like.
I didn't force you.
Well, you were pushing me to do it. If I was silent, you were going to.
Originally, you said 40%.
Okay, whatever.
It's 70%. 70 million men in the United States.
My response to that: I do respect and appreciate men.
Do we need men?
Yes. Just like we need women. We need both. I don't think there's a world where it can just. You don't think? Okay.
What do you think?
Andrew's meditating on that one. Huh? Oh, she wants to tangle on that one.
I'm not convinced on that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But for the same reasons that you wouldn't be, right? So I just say like,
guess so.
sure, men are total monsters, right?
I didn't say that.
And since they could, well, no, this is me, right?
Okay.
It's like, okay, if men really are have the capacity to just be kind of like these oppressive monsters, then why not just Handmaid's Tale the whole thing? You just put all the women in the cages, right? And just like livestock them if you wanted to. Women could never do that in opposition. And so because of that, I'm like, well, it seems like men are pretty benevolent because they really could and have in other countries done that, like in the Middle East, places like this. They completely strip the rights of women kind of overnight. And women can't really do much about it, but they can't do it in reverse, right? They can't make men do this in reverse. So when the question becomes, are women necessary? It's like, yeah, I can agree that women are necessary to have children, but are they necessary to run a society? Clearly not. Like, clearly not. Like, I can point to you many societies right now where they're totally unnecessary in the running of the society. Like, that's just factually true. Now, what you're doing is you're taking this in your head. I can tell you this right now. Here's what you're doing. You're
I know
going,
exactly what I'm
he
thinking.
actually believes that you should put women in cages and do horrible things. Even though I literally never
I
said a
didn't say
word
that.
like
I
that.
didn't think that. You're
I
putting
just
words
want
in
to
my
just
mouth
want to
right
let you
now.
know
I
right
didn't think
now
that.
that's not my ought claim. I'm just saying what is
Well,
true.
good, but I wasn't
So we
thinking
should-
that.
Yeah. So what is true is that no, I don't think society needs women to function. I don't think it needs them in any support role, really. I don't think it needs them in any leadership role whatsoever. I think that if women were essentially relegated to second-class citizens, as an is statement, not an ought, as an is statement, if women were relegated to second-class citizens, I think society would be fine.
That's really upsetting to hear. So you really just think that women exist to give birth?
See,
and
that's the
it?
ought. See the
But
ought
that's what
saying.
I'm
I see the
hearing.
ought. You see the ought there that you did there.
So that's
You
what I'm
think
hearing.
women
So you
only
don't-
exist to do. That's an ought claim. I'm
Well,
not
that's what
saying
you're-
ought.
So what do you?
I
so
don't
what are
think
they good
women
for
only
other than
exist
birth?
to do
What
that.
are they
I'm
good for
telling
other
you
than-
descriptively. I want you to answer to the descriptor
Well, can
with
you
a counter
answer-
descriptor. I think it is true, not ought to be, but is true, that if women were relegated to second-class citizens,
Touch My Blade donated $200. If all men passed instantly, or if all women passed.
this guy's like
Thanos
always 5
snap.
seconds behind me
Who
on
would
this.
last longer? Think
Okay.
infrastructure, power, water, food, farming, etc.
I just want the counter descriptor. So, I'm not saying this should be true. I'm not saying that you should do any of this, because you shouldn't. I'm just giving the descriptor of what is correct and accurate. So, from my view, it is correct, descriptively true, that if all women were made into second-class citizens tomorrow, they had no real rights, they were not allowed in government positions of any kind, nor leadership positions, that society would be just fine. There would not be any, like, I can't really even envision, I just really can't even really envision any problems, honestly. So I'm waiting for a counter descriptor to say, nope, I do think that there would be lots and lots and lots of problems, and here's what they would be. But I don't want to hear ought, what we should do, because I already agree with you, we shouldn't do this.
Well, not enough women have even been in government to prove that they have the capabilities to help run it.
Yeah, but
I-
that doesn't counter the descriptor of what of this being true. Like, I'm just going to grant that. Like, maybe women would be the bestest rulers ever. Let's say they occupied 90% of government, they would be way better than men. My descriptor, though, is just that if all women were relegated to second-class citizenry, I don't see why society wouldn't function fine.
I mean, I just disagree with you just on the grounds of you can't have one, strata or like one type of person be in power.
Well, it wouldn't be one type of person. It would be
men?
thousands of different types of people.
Men. It would be men.
Yeah, but wait,
And then
there's
the
only,
only-
well,
the
there's
only-
only two types of human, right? Men and women.
Right.
Right, so there's male
So
and
one
female.
type of person
But can't we
is-
point to cultures right now where women are completely disenfranchised from all power roles and the society functions fine?
Not for them. They're miserable.
Well,
they're
no, it's not
oppressed.
good for
They can't do the things they
yeah,
want to do.
I agree it's not good for the women. The women don't like it. But that's not contending again with the descriptor. The descriptor is, would society be fine? Like, you could have
No,
a totally
because society
oppressed
includes
underclass.
the happiness of their citizens and the abilities for them to act out according to their own needs and wants. And
Mm-hmm.
so, if women are oppressed and they can't do that, then it's not a stable and good society for everybody.
What if they have a massive brainwashing program which convinces all of the women that they're actually happy? As many of these nations do. And so the women report, we're really happy. No, I'm not kidding. Like, this is true right this second. I can point to many countries where this is the case.
Gulf states.
Yep.
Yep.
Tons of them.
You look at countries like Qatar, Dubai, they don't have really any women in positions of power at all.
Tomorrow, here's how it's
Make
going
us
to be.
second-class citizens, and there will be
Here's
no
tomorrow,
power.
right? Andrew Wilson says we should do thing I literally said we should never do. Just giving a descriptor, but I can already tell. He wants women in cages. I can hear it now.
Lopalin says, thank you, Andrew. Vote Andrew 2024 Taliban party. But seriously, you've already absorbed anti-baby propaganda, Idiocracy, Handmaid's Tale, even cartoons you watched as a baby. Fern Gully, Too Many Human. That was a banger of a movie.
By the way, that other guy, real sharp. What's his name? Slade.
Blade.
Yeah.
Touch My Blade.
He seems
Touch
like
My Blade.
He seems
Good.
like he's on it.
He's on point. He's been firing off. Well, I think also maybe Andrew, you can speak to like the actual, I guess, practical application here when it comes to men being involved in critical infrastructure. And is that kind of the angle that you're coming at this with? Like,
No, I'm literally coming at it from all angles. If women were removed from all societal function, like let's say that this is a Middle Eastern nation where you can't even walk down the street without like having a male escort. Those nations, I'm not kidding, they exist right now. I know that for some reason feminists think that this is like, you're talking about a hypothetical handmaid's tale. These civilizations exist right now and they have hundreds of millions of people in them. Hundreds of millions. If you remove women from all critical roles in society, these nations keep going fine. Like, in many cases, they thrive. Like, that is descriptively true. So I don't even know why people argue it. It's like,
Dubai like
I
that?
agree.
it's
I
true.
agree. But
Dubai's a little bit more liberal, but like
Yeah.
it's just true, right? And
you
it's
look
like-
at countries like Saudi, it's like that.
It's like
Saudi's
that.
a pretty prosperous country.
It's like that all over the Middle East. It's like that in many regions of Asian nations as well. It's like that in many places where like women are completely removed from all positions of power, authority, autonomy, and just the societies function. Like now, you can say it's not optimal. Sure, you can say it's morally reprehensible. Agreed. But that's not taking away the fact that they work.
Touch My Blade donated $200. I'm Australian, so we still know what's up, lads.
See?
Great
Another one.
stream.
Did he lose you now with the Australian thing? He lost you, Andrew.
Fucking people have been
Another
sitting
one.
here
Touch
trying to
My
convince
Blade.
me forever that
Another
this country
style.
exists. It's
Not a real
ridiculous.
country.
Can I make a comment about what you said? Because it's
Yeah.
actually a great point. One of my favorite graphic novels is called Why the Last Man. And
Yeah, I've read it.
yeah, and essentially one day all of the men just,
With Yuri?
Drop.
Isn't that his name? Yuri or Yorin or something?
yeah, Yorick.
Yorick.
Yeah, and society completely fell apart because women only make up like 2% of engineers
Yeah.
or doctors, and they didn't know what to do. I mean, you have to read it. It's actually a really cool perspective.
Society was completely decimated. This is
Yeah,
one
and
last,
they went
yeah.
insane because it
Yeah.
helps you realize like how much men actually have a role in society. When I feel like this generation, in the sense, makes it seem like they don't, or try to downplay men. And it's very easy to forget how important they are and how much they do have to contribute and how much expectations that are put on them from the moment they're born.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that you push this point, right, that people actually get very, very upset if you just kind of point out obvious things that contend with their kind of preconceived notions. In this particular case, most of human history, most of human society, and currently, I would say most societies in the world outside of the West, women are relegated to secondary roles. And society has absolutely flourished. I just want, right? Except the West. The West is the only one way below thresholds of birth rates. They're the ones who are way below kind of these thriving rates. And so it's like, descriptively, I can clearly see that women were relegated historically to a lesser role, and in most nations, right this second, they're relegated to a lesser role. And these societies function fine. So this like idea that women must be in all these places, it's just absurd to me. I don't even understand why anybody would argue with that. They could say, again, you can make the moral arguments against it. I would agree, right? I don't want them in a secondary role. I'm just saying that descriptively, I can see with my own eyeballs that these societies are not going like out of existence because women are not in government.
I would like to bring it back to dating for at least the most of the end of the show, but you do seem to be shaking your head here. Is there still a disagreement
I'm
on
done.
this?
I'm done.
You're
Yeah,
done?
I'm done.
Was it the misogyny? Was it the raging Andrew Wilson misogyny that did it? Even though it was like or it wasn't hot claims, excuse me.
always like men are superior, men are superior.
Yeah, like, okay, you proved you're better. Like, I don't know, like, what are you even trying? Why?
Not-
Why are you arguing for that?
I never argued for it.
I don't think he was saying.
By the way,
men are
I
better
just want to
'cause-
let you know. Hang on, I just want to let you know. I never argued for it. Hang on. I would like you to acknowledge that not one time did I actually argue for that. No. Nope,
Wait.
can't do it. If you give a descriptor, you believe it. Right?
Do you think society would be better without men?
I don't think society would be better without men or women. Like, there need
Well-
to be both. And
well,
also,
for
to answer your
reproduction.
point,
For
for a
reproduction.
society, women
No,
need
for
to be
reproduction.
nurturers, educators, caregivers. And that's not to say that they can't also do other things. And yes, maybe this book you read proved that, like, there are 3% or 2% of engineers or doctors or whatever. But if in a world, hypothetically, if men did not exist, a world could still flourish with just women. I'm not, like, it can, if just men, a world could flourish. Just women,
Well-
a world could flourish. But with both, there needs to be some kind of level ground where both can flourish at the same time without pushing down another.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I almost wonder if this is more so like, and we've gone into these like apocalyptic scenarios where what would happen if all men disappeared instantly or all women disappeared instantly? And I think perhaps Andrew, a little bit of what he's getting to, although he seems to have expanded on it a bit, is that if all women were to disappear, it would suck. That would be terrible. It would be the end of the species. But when it comes to the survival, Andrew disagrees. Okay, what the bone marrow shit? Okay, because men are involved in critical infrastructure, the world would continue. But if you were to remove all men from the world instantly, it would be catastrophic, and I think majority of women would be dead within 3 weeks.
If
Same with men.
Nope.
If women were allowed the education and resources that men had in the past,
They
they would
are.
be able to have.
They
no,
are. Yes,
they weren't
they
allowed
are.
to have school before, and if we
In the
could,
past, today you can do anything as a
yes.
woman.
Today,
Yeah, you just get paid less.
Women were always the most
Oh,
literate.
no.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Just so you know, women were always the most literate.
literate.
Yeah, they were always the most literate. Actually, women knew how to read more
yeah, but
than
you're
men
talking
did.
about engineering jobs. If we
Yep.
had opportunities,
But
to
the world
branch
would be
But-
better
Well,
without
but so,
women.
okay.
Well, hang on, I'll address it.
Wait.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, that almost nobody had an engineering job. Almost everybody worked locally, right?
Yeah.
You had localized farms, things like that. That's where most people kind of did what they did. There wasn't when you're talking about specializations, things like that, wasn't a thing most people did. Most people kind of grew up in a region, stayed in that region, and they did things like family farms, kind of localized jobs, farm hands, things like that. It was mostly labor-based rather than specialty-based. But women, right, interestingly enough, they actually have the highest literacy rates, still do. And so there was kind of an emphasis and a value put on that support role where it was more necessary than just, hey, dumb guy, lift heavy thing, right? So I've never really believed in the suppression Olympics that historically, because women had a different role, that meant that they were supremely oppressed and in opposition to men. I've never thought that was true.
I feel like if they could fill other roles during that time, they could have flourished and become
Which
great
ones?
in their role.
Which roles?
Wait, what?
Which roles?
Like administration, government,
Well, okay, what in government?
anything, political positions.
What time
Well,
period
I
are
don't
you
understand how
referring
that.
to by
How would that have
medicine?
helped their practical skills?
Their practical skills.
Yeah. So his thought process here is like, okay, because
we had the
because
all-around
men are
resources
so
of men, we'd be
necessary.
more equal.
Yeah, because
we
men,
wouldn't be down here.
Okay,
we'd
but
be here.
hang on, I'll explain.
Okay, continue.
So he's saying if we remove all men from all the critical infrastructure, much of it they do because only they can do it, right? It actually requires great amount of physical strength to be an
I think it would
underwater
crumble
welder.
right now. It would crumble. It wouldn't.
Yeah. But if historically women had been, allowed access to like engineering and things like this, which by and large they honestly did, just to a lesser degree, I don't understand how that would suddenly make them in charge of all this critical infrastructure that men move towards and women don't.
I feel like if women were never impressed in the past, then we would be more level.
Why?
Because
Women in the most egalitarian nations on planet Earth still move away from engineering and applied science jobs and move towards, well, mostly secretarial work and service work, which is where they're at right now. If you look at the top 10 jobs of women, what do you think they are? It's like teacher, nurse, secretary, right? They're doing the same shit they were doing 100 years ago. When given the choice, in other words, they still move towards the same occupations that they were
Because that's what they
moved
thought they
into.
could do. That's what society set up for them to do.
Right now,
Now we have more availability.
then why do they move still towards?
I did that exactly, actually. I was originally going to study, I studied at Embry-Riddle. I was going to be an aerospace engineer, so I was getting my associates for engineering fundamentals, and I switched it to ultrasound tech.
Yeah.
You know, and it just means mostly calculus and trigonometry.
They're
was
actually
not my
desperately
favorite,
trying to
but-
herd them into those
Positions,
career
yeah, I've
paths.
seen
Yeah,
that.
but they're just
They don't want
not doing
them.
it.
They don't want them.
Yeah.
Then I understand why men and women would have completely different interests in different things. You know, I totally understand why.
And then you take
Hey.
into account, for example, like roofing and concreting and all of these things that we're not even. These don't even require women to go to university, like a applied
Private
engineering sort of role.
chat.
These are just like ice road trucking and all these really dangerous, heavy
Jobs,
lifting
yeah.
jobs.
Blue collar workers.
Yeah, yeah. We're not even talking
Here,
about those
Austin, can
ones.
you
That's
get
the next
that pulled
layer.
up, and then can you
And
also
they physically couldn't do it.
can you get that pulled up, and then can you also
Exactly.
can you also get the
Yeah.
cockroach video, please? Do you have the cockroach video? Prioritize the cockroach video.
There's a cockroach video.
I don't think so.
Okay, go ahead. All right,
Cleaning, plumbing.
just play it. Just play it. All right, this is a man. Not a lot of women are willing to do this job. Not it doesn't appear particularly dangerous, but it's dirty and it's gross.
Did you ask women that if they were willing to or not?
Yeah. It's been available to them. Sanitation workers. It's been available
Hold
to them
on.
for
Can I
years.
ask you? Are you scared of spiders?
Yes.
Are you scared of spiders? Be honest. Hold on.
Touch My Blade donated $200. I personally find it easier to learn language after I have shelter, food, water, security. Only mainly because without those things I'm not alive to learn language.
That's-
Just me though.
He's got money.
Scared of spiders?
Mosquitoes.
Scared of spiders?
Terrified of them.
Scared of spiders?
No.
No?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Okay.
You?
Well, not scared of
The
spiders.
cockroaches,
Not
but
scared of
spiders.
spiders.
Okay.
What's the name? Are you scared of spiders?
No.
Have any of you ever
that 'cause
I
you're
just
asked?
crush them with my hand.
Yeah, it's because you're men, right?
So, but have any of you ever lived with a man or been in a room with a man and there was a bug of some kind?
Yeah, and he ran away screaming, so I got it for him.
That's a
Okay, well, you date soy boy liberal cucks.
That's pretty funny.
I mean, it is what it is. But look, I've encountered my own anecdotal experience. I have spiders. I've had spiders in my rooms. Women are like, "Eh, a spider."
I mean, you've been with. Because
But I'm not. I
I
don't.
say that about
You're
everybody.
with
I mean, I wouldn't do
submissive
that.
women that are willing to just do whatever you say.
Exactly.
What?
That's what
Well,
you
then why
expect.
would-
That's
that's
what
what
you
you just
expect
told
from
me,
women,
but
to
about
be
men.
submissive to you.
You panicked when the
Wait,
guy
what?
had an unloaded rifle. Like, what are you talking
I mean,
about?
wouldn't you
Like,
if someone had a gun towards you? If you didn't know.
an
if it was loaded or
unloaded
not?
rifle? That your boyfriend
moment
walked
that
around
you
with an
know it's
unloaded
loaded or
rifle?
not.
It's
Should we
No,
play
I
the
knew
other
it
one?
wasn't loaded,
Let's
and
do
that's
the
why I
other
was
one
like,
really
what are
quick.
you doing?
Exactly.
All right. What about this? What about this? Okay. All right. Now this is more. This is really intense.
That is so sick.
This is.
He chose to do that. Ain't nobody told him
Like,
to
no
get
one
that
has
job.
to.
Well, someone
Here's the
has
reality.
To do it.
Yeah, somebody has to do it. Women ain't trying to do this shit.
I would do that shit.
You see the lights in here? You see the lights? You
You
know when
would?
it's fucking
You
freezing?
would do that?
Some women would. But you know
Do y'all enjoy light? Do you like
What do you
electricity?
do? Well, like, what do you do right now?
You?
Me?
Yeah.
I just moved here, so I'm just in school.
Yes.
Well, what have you done before as a
Like
job?
work?
Yeah.
I was a ride operator.
You were a what?
A ride operator.
What is that?
I operated rides at Six
Like a
Flags.
carny.
At Six
Full
Flags.
throttle.
You mean you mean he had the little switch panel and you pushed the button and it made the ride go?
Yeah.
You just want to make sure I got it. You would climb up there in the middle of a snowstorm to do that job?
I would if
You
I was
would.
trained. Yeah.
Anyways, all right.
I believe you.
That was interesting. We need to get through a couple things here, so let's see. Or you said something? Sorry, really quick, your thing?
I forgot what I said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course that happened.
I mean,
all
can you
right.
remind me what I said so I can back myself up?
Huh?
I really forgot. So if you
What,
can
I
remind
was
me.
like,
then
do
we'll
you
talk
guys
about it.
the
enjoy?
spider thing.
I was like, do you guys enjoy electricity? And you
Yeah,
were like,
so-
do you?
Well, yeah, right.
the difference
I mean, can
is-
you survive off of it? You can't.
Yeah, but the difference is I acknowledge that if it wasn't for
can.
men who are in infrastructure jobs, we would not be enjoying the electricity which we have.
It's just electricity. Like, yeah, men do the job for it, but like
You-
at the end of the day,
Do you
it's-
realize how
why are
important
you, like, praising
electricity
of-
is? If there, even if we didn't
It's
remove,
just electricity.
if a
bro.
female
need it.
wanted to do that,
hold on,
then
even
she
if
can
we didn't
too.
get rid of, even if we didn't get rid of like the sewage and the telecoms and the trucking and the transportation.
I've known girls are truckers
Hold on.
too.
Okay.
They truck
Even if we
for
didn't
it.
get rid of those other things, do you realize how pampered the lives we live are? If we singularly got rid of electricity, we would all be like collectively panicking and fucked. If it's in the winter, we're dead.
Yeah,
No,
I
not all.
100%
Not me.
agree with you.
Not me.
I never
I'm
said
good.
I
The
did
human
it.
race
And-
But I
survived
just
in the era
asked
of no
you,
electricity.
don't you need electricity
Like, that was
too?
a thing.
I
Yes,
That's all I
but I'm
asked you.
grateful for the men who provide it,
Perfect.
while
I'm
your
grateful for
pampered
having
asses
electricity.
have contempt for men.
I'm grateful for everybody that has put the
And you
effort to
don't-
give us electricity. Everybody, male, female. Because you're telling me not one female has not helped?
Of course.
Oh my
It's all
God.
just male,
Also,
male, male,
though,
male,
yeah.
male.
I mean, there's
Men
also
are, look, here's the point blank.
We need someone to
Men-
sign the paychecks for sure.
Men are unilaterally responsible for every bit of comfort and security you are currently ungratefully enjoying. That's the difference.